Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Botswana's De Beers state-owned Debswana Diamond Company is investing 25 billion rand over the next 14 years in the ultra-rich Jwaneng diamond mine. Mining Weekly editor Martin Creamer visited the mine and is here to tell us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
What value will an investment like this add to the mine as well as to the country as a whole?
Yes, well, you know, the pula is actually a little bit stronger than the rand, so it's 24 billion rand pula. And because Jwaneng and Debswana is equally owned by the state and the private sector, De Beers owns 50% and the state of Botswana owns the other 50% in Debswana. They've both got a chip in an equal amount, and that's 12 billion pula each. And that's a heck of a wad of money to go into a country like Botswana, but the expenditure will be spread over a 14-year period.
Can you tell us more about the Cut 8 project and future projects to follow?
Yeah, you know, Cut 8 is a crucial project. Without that Cut 8, the Jwaneng mine, which is the prince of pipes, which is the most valuable diamond mine on the planet, would have ground to a halt by 2017, and that's a frightening thought. But what they're looking at is removing something like 650 million tons of overburden, because you've got to move the earth in order to get to the diamonds. So the diamonds are in 3 pipes in this big pit, and you have to keep removing the soil in order to get to them in an open cast format. So Cut 8 is the 8th cut of this, but it keeps going deeper. And you know, when I looked down in that pit while I visited, and it looked pretty deep, that's only 325 meters. It's going to go to more than 600 meters. So it's going to be a heck of a deep pit. And the deeper you go, the wider you've got to go. Otherwise, your pit caves in. So there are a lot of implications, and they are already doing a pre-feasibility study on Cut 9, because that will balance out the depth of the pit on either side. And that will take its life to 2030. And that Cut 8, you know, produces more than more than 100 million carats of diamonds. So, you know, this is an enormously valuable pit. And then you'll have Cut 9. And it'll start from a surface point of view, grinding to a halt with Cut 10. And then they'll have to look underground.
Now, Jwaneng mine could in future be classified as one of the world's super pits. Yeah. Can you tell us more?
Yeah, these super pits, I mean, it looks like a super pit already to me. It's that size, but as it goes wider and deeper, it will emerge as what they classify as a super pit, and it'll go down to about 800 and more than 800 meters. So that's a very, very great depth for an open pit mine. And one would have expected that they would have gone underground sooner. You know, when I visited Jwaneng about a year ago, they were intent on going underground. They were telling me where they were going to sink this 1,000-meter shaft. They were going to do block cave mining so that you collapse the diamonds and you could have had an automated situation. When I got there this time, they had lost their appetite for underground mining totally, and told me they're sunshine miners. They want to see the sun. But I think at some stage they're going to have to go underground, and I think they're going to go underground at a point where they know what is underground. The actual pipes, these diamond pipes, these kimberlite pipes, they're shaped like carrots, normally. So, you know, they're normally wide at the higher point, and then they narrow down. So the chances are you won't get as much diamond material as you go deeper. But of course, there's always a hope that instead of being shaped like a carrot, it gets shaped like an onion at the end. And and they haven't really determined that yet because of drilling constraints. There are technical constraints which stop them from knowing what is deep there, which shocked me, because I thought they'd have all the drilling at their disposal. But the way you've got to drill these kimberlite pipes actually stops you from going too deep. And they could only go to about 825 meters or something at this stage. So they don't know what's deeper. And if they go underground, you know, the depth will obviously be more than that.
What sort of role do diamonds play in Botswana?
This is what knocked my socks off. I mean, really, I don't know how a country could have left it so late. You know that if you look at the fundamental economics of that country, virtually half their income is from diamonds. Of that half, of course, that's provided by Debswana, which is partly owned by De Beers, partly owned. Of that half, 70% comes in from one mine, Jwaneng, the one we're looking at. Now, to me, it's almost a dereliction of duty of a government to allow themselves to be left with such a thin thread for their economic future. I mean, that is why, as we sat there, the person said, we've got to do this cut. Cut 8 has got to be done, and it's got to be done quickly. You can see they're starting to hasten, because without this mine, that economy will slide. It will really decline substantially. And I think the government has been harebrained to allow themselves to be so reliant on diamonds. I mean, they should be thrown out, honestly. You can't. I mean, we've got a lot of respect for these Botswanans. Normally they think, well, gee, they've got quite a country there, but they've got to diversify. If this new head of government doesn't do something urgently to change fundamentally that economic structure, I think that he will be doing his people a disservice. From my mind, I don't know if that country deserves to exist on its own. I mean, someone, a Mr. Big in South Africa, should come around and say, look, let's create the United States of Southern Africa. Let's bring all these people, let's bring all these countries in together like Washington did, in America, and let's make ourselves stronger here in the Southern Africa. We can't have these little patchwork countries just because the British came here at some stage and drew some boundaries and created, this what's now Botswana, which was Debswana land. It's harebrained. We've got this patchwork of countries. That's why we're not strong. Someone, a modern-day Washington, must come out and say, hey, come guys, sit down. Let's take the egos out of this. Let's form a strong economic base down here, even if you don't want to call it the United States of Southern Africa. Let's do something like that and bring in as many states as we can so that we've got a much bigger economic base.
Now, you've mentioned that they could diversify. They've got coal there.
They've got a lot of coal. They've got trillions of tons of coal, but look how slow. I mean, they should have been doing this ages ago. They now are using some of their coal to generate electricity so that the new people who are coming in to drill and look for coal prospects, etc., are assured of electricity going forward. The government's providing that. The government is also providing water, dams. But wow, I think something bigger has to be done with this country. And anyone who says the contrary, I think, hasn't examined it properly.
Well, let's look out for Mr. Big then. Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Shannon.
That's the show for today. Join us again next time for more news and insights into what's happening in the mining world.